With my homemade table saw taken apart, I can show what is going to be replacing it, at least for the time being. And here it is. A good place to start is the top. Much of this is the original saw right here. I just cleaned it up and fixed it up to the point where it's very nearly new. I added this outfeed table. It's about 12 inches deep, and really it just covers the motor. I didn't want it to stick out too far because I didn't want this saw to take up too much space. And to give me a little bit more rip capacity, I added this other wooden side table on the right side of the saw. I used my homemade fence system from the other saw on here as well. The only change I made to the fence itself was that I added plywood to both sides so I can use it on both sides of the blade. The saw originally had a toggle switch, and that was further in on the cabinet and hard to reach. So to fix that, I added a 20 amp 2-pole switch and mounted it in this plywood box. And it sticks out far enough that I can easily reach it. The original base on the saw was a little bit unstable, and I thought that if I'm going to take the time to fix it up, I might as well build a better one. So I used plywood from my homemade table saw and made a new one. I shortened the leveling legs from my old saw and put them on this one. And to add mass and stability to the saw, I made the base big enough so that the concrete side table from my old saw could fit in here. To make it possible to move the saw easily, this is removable. Like my homemade table saw, dust collection here is with a bin. When I bought the saw, it had a 3/4 horsepower motor on it, and I replaced that motor with this motor from the Delta saw. It's a 1.5 horsepower. I added a simple tensioner to stop the motor from climbing up when it's under load. And I replaced the rubber belt with one of these link belts, and that really cuts down on the amount of vibration. So that's a look at my new saw. As it happens, this one is still temporary until I get the other one built, the Delta. That will be a bigger, more elaborate saw, and it will have a few more features. I guess the only thing left to do is to make a cut. Well, seems to work pretty good. That's it. Thanks for watching. Wait, that's not all. I've got a couple of tests that I did to check for accuracy. I put a good 10-inch blade in the saw. I'm pretty sure that that's flat. And now I'm going to check the run out on the arbor. I'm turning it by pulling on the belt. I'm not actually touching the arbor. Looks like I have about 3 thousandths, and I can live with that. For those that don't really know what 3 thousandths is, a sheet of standard paper is about 4 thousandths thick. Something else I wanted to look at was, as the blade tilts, how far does it move off the center axis of the tabletop? And I was concerned about that because changing out the arbor and the bearings could affect that. So I'm just going to change it from 45 now. I've got my ruler right up against the tooth. I'm going to rotate it to 90 degrees. I think that's perfectly dead on.